Okay guys, this is a follow-up to the previous video. Last time we were talking about the coming community update, well, quote-unquote update, what it could be and how it could work. Well, this morning, the 8th of March, I woke up to a tweet from Critscast, and it was a really nice one. Just watched your video at RubberMango about the much-hyped update coming to TF2. Now that the cat's out of the bag about this being a Face-It thing, are you still hyped or feel let down? Congrats on the 4K, by the way. And would you look at that? I guess the cat really is out of the bag. It is Face-It servers. That's what it is. This looks like it's going to be some sort of network of servers co-founded by community members and the esports company Face-It. This is obviously something huge. Something I want to explain to you guys in a little more detail. I was getting specific comments from people talking about how this quote update was just a wash, nothing special, and unofficial, therefore unimportant. But you are wrong. Dead wrong. This might not be coming from Valve themselves, but in order to understand the significance of this, you need to look at least 2 steps ahead. If the community comes together for what seems to be the biggest step towards self-control and alliance, how is Valve going to react to all of this? The servers are going to be our best solution to the bot crisis that's been plaguing the game for years now. Many players migrated to community servers simply because of the heightened security and moderation compared to the Wild West that is the official casual mode. After years of neglect, failing to solve this problem, a lack of communication, and rehashed seasonal updates, the community is taking a stand, and this time it seems to be one that has the potential to make a massive difference. In the future, what we could be seeing is the moment the community takes the reins from Valve, effectively taking control and pushing forward in the direction they want to go. But before we get to that point comes the first step, the struggle between the community and the creator of the game, between you and I and between Valve. But how is that going to end? From what I can tell and I can gather, I've spoken with people about this. Depending on how Valve responds, there's about 3 different scenarios I can think of. They're not just going to change the way you and I play, they're going to change the game. Valve's response to what happens in the future will be the litmus test and future of TF2. The community takes a stand and moves into an independent way of controlling the quality of their experience. Valve can see this happening and decides it's finally time to let them move on. It would take Valve having to admit their matchmaking system was a failure and accept the community's solution to these mounting issues. If Valve were to welcome this transition of server control and power, this would mean that they're actually finally listening to us. It only took us going to rock bottom and climbing our way all the way back out for them to see it on their own. People who have been so fed up that they would actually go out of their way like they are now to take matters into their own hands. Valve would be forced to at least respond to what's happening. It's possible that they would start paying attention, give us maybe some small future updates based around not just hats and maps people made, but genuine gameplay changes and tweaks based on how the community as a whole reacts, feels about them. We're talking about things like Mayan that became Jungle Inferno, Love and War, Heavy Update. These things people have put together in the community. It's just that Valve doesn't really do anything with it. Things could start happening with them, but this is a glass cannon because the mob mentality could lead to very negative changes happening to this game. So be very careful what you ask for. All in all, it would be the best possible ending for this game. The community takes a stand and moves into an independent way of controlling the quality of their experience. Valve can see this happening and decides to put their foot down against any rogue servers siphoning their users. I can't think of any good reasons. The exact reasoning would be difficult to come up with. Maybe the hubris of admitting defeat. Maybe a risk of third-party transactions that cut them out of the deal. Maybe player numbers on casual affect the game's internal functions. I'm not sure. For whatever reason though, Valve has a negative response and dislikes what's happening. I don't think they'd ever go as far as to want to destroy the servers and close them down, but I could imagine a scenario where, for whatever reason, Valve would rather have players under their own servers and nobody else's. Well then what? Most likely Valve would be forced to pay attention to users and update the game again. People become attached because they care, and if Valve is attached to their IP or at least cares about it, they would at least care what we have to say. We are the IP. Unfortunately, they haven't really shown that recently, and with things like TF2 Classic and creators.tf, there is no track record of Valve responding to major community movements. It would be another kick in their pants to do something, and it would be their last option, last way out. last way of redemption for this game. Best case scenario in this position is that we would get at least the final update, to at least force close this chapter of their company in this game, because Valve would just want it be over with, close the game down, here's your update, leave us alone, it is all community based now. That's how I can see scenario 2 playing out, which is not the best ending, but an acceptable one. The community takes a stand and moves into an independent way of controlling the quality of their experience. Valve does nothing. Valve doesn't really care what happens, as long as we keep buying their keys and crates, trading through the marketplace and having new players joining in every day. Why change anything? This would be the darkest ending. They would be handed this chance to make a change and do something about the state of the game, but do literally nothing. The servers would go on, maybe there would be some new maps here and there, and at least mini community quote-unquote updates would come to the servers. We would get things like Scream Fortress and Smithmas every once in a while, community maps every once in a while, but these servers that are coming from Face It would be the last place we have to go. That's it. It would be like being stuck in a dead spaceship floating in the endless vacuum of space. The ship isn't running anymore, and nobody's coming to save us. It would be up to us in our little confined space to make the best of it. We would be stranded in the middle of nowhere, having to figure shit out, which unfortunately this might be the most likely scenario, again considering how they've reacted to other movements. At the end of the day, the future of TF2 is going to be decided based on how Valve reacts, if at all, to this big change. This is also assuming that the server network is big enough and runs well enough to offload most players into them. It's also assuming they're going to be successful and pose a real alternative threat to Valve's management. All of this is based on whether or not these servers run well and everyone likes them. But this is why you should be involved and interested. This is how you can make a difference. No official word is out yet from any of the major players in this movement, but people like Big Joey, Pyro Joe, Dane, Array, a lot of the most influential and loved members of the community are spearheading this movement. This isn't an official update, but right now, it's what we have, and as long as we can work together to build something that gets Valve's attention, we have nothing to lose. So what do you guys think? Are the servers going to work? Is Valve going to do anything at all? Which scenario is going to play out, 1, 2, or 3? It's in our hands now, guys, and we have to wait for Valve to just respond, if at all. So I hope this cleared things up for you guys. It's not an official update, but it's still one of the most important things to happen, if not the most important thing to happen as of recent. Leave comments below, let me know what you think. Thank you guys very much for coming through, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day.